Welcome to our channel, Standing on Truth, where we speak truth and inspire conversations that matters. Today we welcome Mary Amlaw to our show. Mary has spent many years serving on the political scene. Welcome, Mary.
Yeah, thanks.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you're involved and a little bit of history background that you have?
Yeah, I was not political at all until about 20 years ago, and it was during the 2008 presidential election. I was looking at all these different candidates running for president, whether they were independent or Democrat, Republican, and it dawned on me, I don't have any idea what they're talking about. I don't know if they're a snake oil salesman. I really don't know what I'm supposed to be doing when I go into the voting booth. And that started me on a long journey of learning. And so I started reading some books. I started understanding what the original purpose of our country was, and I learned so much from the Founding Fathers, and that just kind of evolved into then getting involved in the Tea Party movement. And the current Tea Party movement is all about being taxed enough already, and there were some other issues going on too. We had a war that was not declared by Congress, and people were upset, and all they simply wanted was to have a federal government that would follow its constitution more closely and just follow the rules of the land. Well, that opened up a whole new chapter in my life, because that's exactly what the Tea Party movement was about. And I got involved. I published a book that explains why the founders gave us a constitutional Republican form of government. We're not a democracy. We have a democratic process, but we're a constitutional republic. And what that means, and it just has gone from there. So I traveled all over the state speaking at different meetings and organizations, and then came back and formed my own Tea Party group, which still meets every month now on the first Thursday of the month in Anoka. We get a lot of good speakers, organizational speakers, people that can teach us, again, what's going on, and candidates. So this is the year of candidates, definitely, and we'll talk more about that in this podcast. But after a while, I got involved within the Republican Party because its values and principles most closely support what the founders wanted. And it makes more sense for my moral sense in every way. I was raised Catholic, had 12 years of Catholic education, and I'm glad I had it because it gave me a very good moral guideline. And I do think one of the reasons why kids these days are floundering is because they have no point of reference at all. They're just out there, just learning as they go. Well, humans need some sort of a guideline, whether they accept it or reject it. At least they've got a point of reference. So anyway, this is what all the Tea Party did for me. It got me even closer to my faith and to what the founders wanted, and it all meshes together, and it all came to fruition within the Republican Party. And I became what they call a basic political organizational unit, a BPOU chair, and each major party in the state, they are divided up into legislative districts based on population number, and they're called BPOUs, so the basic political organizational unit. So I'm a chair of one of those, and we are called Senate District 32, and it encompasses the geographic area of the southern part of Ham Lake, all of Blaine, Lexington, and Columbus. So that's just me. I'm just one of 120 within the Republican Party that are leading a BPOU. And our main purpose and function is to get an endorsed state senator candidate in 2 House districts. So each BPOU has a state senator and 2 House district reps, and that's what makes up our state legislature over in St. Paul.
Okay, sounds interesting.
I have to make sure that these candidates get endorsed by other people within the party here and unit and get them elected. It's a big job.
And the endorsement, so there's a process of doing that, and that is called the caucus, correct?
Yes, it starts with caucus, and it's an event. Caucus can be a verb and a noun, but we'll talk in terms of it being an event. Yeah, every 2 years, the major political parties in every state have a caucus. And caucus, by definition, very loosely, just means like-minded folks get together to resolve or an issue or try to achieve a goal. And so caucus is always the first Tuesday every 2 years. And our Senate district, or BPOU, will be meeting at Roosevelt Middle School on February 3rd, and that will be for all registered voters or just people in the area that want to come and learn more about their local Republican unit right here in their backyard and who are the candidates, both for the state and even for U.S. Senate and for governor coming up this year.
So in the caucus, then what transpires there? The accomplishment there is to
become a delegate, so you can start this endorsing process.
So
with caucus, I'm just going to read off of here because I did such a good job in this email. The purpose is the first step in the party convention cycle, whichever main party you are, but I'll talk in terms of Republican. Caucus is the first step in the party convention cycle to endorse 2026 Republican candidates for office.
Okay.
And we have a lot of them next year. So we gather with like-minded neighbors and we learn how candidates are endorsed and how they campaign. So who may attend? You can be an observer or a participant. Participants will take part in the evening's activity at caucus. Number one, we'll review the Republican Party platform for the whole state. What does the party represent? And you can submit suggestions to update it.
Mm-hmm.
And two, you can meet your district's Republican state legislative officials and candidates. So here in Senate District 32, in office is State Senator Michael Cruin. He represents all of Senate District 32 at the state legislature. And then our district is divided into the A side, the House District, and the B side, House District. A side is represented by Nolan West, so he will show up and speak as well. There is a Democrat, though, that holds the B side office right now. But we have a good candidate that will be there, too, Leslie Larson. She's on the Blaine City Council. She'll be challenging the incumbent this fall. So they'll all be there. They'll have their materials all set up, and they'll go around to each precinct and talk. And you may hear from statewide candidates. You can then that night become a volunteer if you'd like. We can tell you how to volunteer and help the BPOU or the candidates. You can also learn how to become an election judge or a poll watcher. Those are needed at every election. And you can run to become a voting delegate, then is what we call it, to our BPOU convention. Every BPOU now has to have a convention to endorse these state legislators. So caucus begins that delegate process. And you don't have to run, but if you do, we'll hold your hand every step of the way. I mean, I became a delegate and didn't know anything about this whole endorsing process, but here I am now. It takes a couple years to learn it all because it is a 2-year cycle, but if you become a delegate, then you've basically agreed that you will come to the Senate District 32 endorsing convention, where we will endorse that state senator and those 2 House reps.
Okay.
So that they have the stamp of approval from the local Republican Party, and then they start their campaign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So we have midterm elections coming up this year in November. How important are the midterm elections compared to the presidential elections? The midterm comes up and the turnout is kind of low, it seems like, because it doesn't seem to be that important. But
well, it is, though, however, because we have state governments and we have federal government. And most people know all about the federal government or know more about it just because it gets so much publicity. So, yeah, we've got a federal government. We have a president, and then we have the House of Representatives, and we have the Senate. It's called Congress. And so when we were talking last year when there was a presidential election, I would say to people, do you like what President Trump is saying, what he stands for? Oh, absolutely. Well, then who are you going to send to Congress to work with him? It would be nice to send a like-minded Republican so he can actually get his agenda through. Because if the president, no matter what party, is working with opposition all the time, you don't get a whole heck of a lot done.
correct.
So you have to think in terms of then who are our federal people that we're electing to go out to Congress. And within Minnesota, we have 8 congressional districts. It's always based on population again. But we have 8 congressional districts. and each one has a U.S. House rep that goes to Congress. So in our case, we're CD6, right? We're zoned that way. And who's our House rep? United States House rep, Tom Emmer.
Tom Emmer,
And
correct.
he's a powerful guy because he's the majority whip out there. So that's pretty cool. So that's for the House. Each state, and remember the way they figured this out, that the states would be based on representation, so number of people. Okay, so that's why California will have 52 CDs and Minnesota only has 8 because we have a lesser population. But every state has equal representation in the Senate out there. Each state has 2 U.S. senators. So we've had Tina Smith and Amy Klobuchar. And they run for office alternating 6 years. So this year it's Tina Smith's election, but she's not running. So it's an open seat for the Democrats to fill it too. So we have that. So we've got that election too. That's a midterm. You talked about that specifically, but we'll have a U.S. Senate. And this coming year for the state government, we have governor, attorney general, state auditor, and secretary of state. Those are offices in Minnesota that we call the constitutional offices. By the Minnesota Constitution, we have to have somebody in those spots. So they're up for election.
Okay.
Well, it just so happens 2026, every state senator and all the House reps are also up for election.
So it is a big, huge...
It's huge. So when you say the midterm election is important, it's like, yes, because you are now going to vote in all the state senators and House reps to our state legislature. And what do? They decide things like taxes,
laws of the state.
laws of the state, the crime, everything to do with everything.
Correct. And they have
Yeah.
major control what happens in the state.
Yes. So you don't have to worry about all of them all over the state. You just need to worry about your own state senator and your House rep in your own backyard in whichever district you live in, whichever BPOU.
Correct.
And you can go to the Secretary of State site. As of January 15th, there will be a link where you can actually put in your address and find who your legislators are. You can also put in precinct finder, and you'll be able to find out what precinct you're in and the whole bit, and that'll help you get to caucus. But that won't be available until the January 15th.
Okay.
But that website is sos.mn.gov.
Okay.
I'll repeat it. SOS for Secretary of State.
Correct.
sos.mn.gov. And then the page will come up and you'll look for the tab that says elections and voting. And then just go to it, click on it, and you start putting your address in, and pretty soon you'll find out everything about you.
That's good.
So at caucus, that's the beginning where you can become a delegate, and you can actually have a say at your Senate district or BPOU convention then as to who our endorsed candidates are.
Correct. And the delegate's job is to voice their opinion and vote for the candidates their precinct, the people in their precinct have chose to run for office. Is that correct?
I'm not quite sure what you're asking, but
The delegates, what is their duties once they become a delegate?
come to their BPOU convention, and you should really know a little something about your candidates. Because when you cast a vote, you should know what you're casting your vote for. But yeah, it'll be to endorse the Senate District State Senator, and at this point, Senator Cruin has no opponent, so it'll just be him. And then, if you live on the A side or in the House district of Senate District 32, it'll either be Nolan West or it'll be Leslie Larson. But we have to get them endorsed, and then they have that stamp of approval, and then off they go. Now they can be primaried. Somebody else can go over to the Secretary of State and file to run against them. And then we're forced into a primary, which is the second Tuesday, I believe it is this year in August.
Okay.
So that means the general population then in this area will go to the poll and vote for the one candidate on the ballot. There may be one or just 2 or 3. There would never be just one. You'd have to have an opponent. But say, for instance, Senator Cruin has 2 people that decide to jump in June and try to get the Republican win that to go on to the general election in November, then all three of them would be on the ballot in the primary in August.
So the primary election that comes up in August is also very important.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And that's usually low turnouts too.
So the people could come in and say, here's who we like to see run and on the ballot in November. So the primary is also important too.
It is. And the other thing that happens is that sometimes the delegates will endorse their state senator or their House district rep. They get the endorsement, but then they don't win the primary.
Wow.
That has happened too.
That kind of hurts.
It does hurt. It does, yeah.
That's painful.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
But the endorsement makes a big difference to a lot of people, not only to those of us that have been delegates forever, because we do tend to know more than the average voter just because we follow it and we're in the arena all the time. We understand the legislation and the cause effect of things, that are people that are proposing. But it's very, very important, though, then that we get it out to the general population that you have to go vote. And this person has the endorsement. That should carry some weight,
yes.
but maybe it doesn't. But yeah, it's one of those people number games again that goes on. Yeah, but there will be two winners. There'll be a Democrat winner then in the primary and a Republican, and then those are the two that go on to the general election in November.
Right. So if you want to be heard, you got to get out there to join the caucuses and be heard there, and also in the primaries. So
So it starts if you want to have a vote. If you want to vote for these people, you can be a delegate. Now, I just will say that it's the beginning of the whole convention realm, going all the way up to state convention, and I'll explain that. Caucus is February 3rd. If you live in Senate District 32, our BPOU convention is Saturday, March 7th. Again at Roosevelt Middle School. What do you do at our BPOU convention? Well, like all 120 conventions that'll be going on during a certain time frame here, that's when the delegates at those caucuses will go to their respective BPOU conventions and endorse their state senator from their area and the two House reps. There you can also take a look at what we call some resolutions and vote to decide if there should be some changes or worthy items to go on to up to the state level to take a look. What we're looking at is the Minnesota State Constitution. The process starts at caucus, but we'll take another vote on them at the Senate District or BPOU convention level. Now, at that level, too, you also can run again to be a delegate, so you can go on to the Congressional District Convention and the state. And if you run and get elected, then you've committed to go to your congressional district. I'll run again and go on to the CD6 convention, which will be held probably sometime in April. But we will be looking at endorsing our U.S. House rep. Well, Tom Emmer's running again. He does have one challenger. I've looked into him. I'm going to vote for Tom Emmer, not because I don't like the other one, but Tom is much more experienced and has a much better understanding of the job. So I will vote to endorse Tom Emmer again as our Republican candidate for U.S. House. So Tom will get the endorsement probably, but this other guy that's running could decide to primary him.
Okay.
Could.
Okay.
And then we start that whole process again. And then after that convention, there's some other, you look at the resolutions to the state constitution again, and there's other party business. But then you have also been elected to go on to the state endorsing convention, which will be May 29th through the 31st in Duluth. And there at that convention, you meet up with all these other delegates from all over the state. It's really quite fun to meet everybody. And you are there to endorse a United States Senate candidate.
Okay.
To run in the general election, to take that Tina Smith spot. And you are there to help everybody endorse a Republican candidate for governor, attorney general, secretary of state, and auditor.
Okay. So you can get involved and you can have a say.
You do. You say all the way on up, yeah.
So volunteer and get a hold and just start doing it.
Yeah.
And even if you do not want to become a delegate, there's other ways to volunteer.
Yeah. You could sit there at caucus and just be an observer. And we have a special spot for you in the room where you can sit and you just observe. It's a great way to learn. If you decide at that moment, all of a sudden you want to jump in and do something, well, come on aboard. Other people will come, and even though they're eligible to be a delegate, they may decide, I just want to get involved with my BPOU more. I just want to learn more. So our BPOU here in Senate District 32, we meet the fourth Monday of every month at the ballpark in Blaine. And we have the candidates come, we have our state legislators give us updates. We'll bring in organizational specialists sometimes. I like to talk now and then on some things going on, and I like to tell people about other activities that are going on in the area.
Right, and then where people can get involved and volunteer to help out some of the candidates if they need help with.
Oh yeah, and the BPOU, our Senate district always, and you can get involved in other BPOUs too. There's candidates right over here in Coon Rapids that need help, and over here in Hugo, White Bear, Columbia Heights, Isani. I mean, we're in the North Metro area here, and there's nothing that says that you can't go help another candidate.
Okay.
And candidates need your time. We always say your time or your treasure. If you want to donate, and that's all you can do, great, because we do have to donate to these local candidates. Trump's got enough money, I always say. You don't have to donate to Trump, and give it to your local candidates. They really need it. But those BPOU meetings are really important because that's where you're going to meet and mingle with other like-minded people, and all of a sudden they are your new best friends. And it helps you explain what you know at a gut level, but you can't quite verbalize it.
Right.
You know what you want to say, you just don't know how to say it. Well, we talk about it all the time. And I just think those BPOU meetings are so worthwhile. And you can bring your neighbor and just get involved that way.
Bring
just
on
get more knowledgeable.
like-minded people with you, yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
definitely encourage you to bring your neighbors and bring them along and just help them learn.
Absolutely.
And observe and see what's going on. And you may catch the bug.
You may catch the bug, yeah. And it is interesting, especially when you start meeting candidates and you actually meet your state legislator. Most people don't get that opportunity. You can, but here they are. They're standing right there.
You can shake their hands and you can talk to them and tell them your concerns and see what they think about it and what you're interested in and see if they're interested in it. You can voice your opinion to them. So yes, it's very... I like going there, and I wish I just went there more often, so that's one of my goals.
Well, you'll start. This new location, we actually have like a lounge with some leather swivel chairs and leather sofas, so we're going to call it, I don't know what we're going to call it, the 32 Loft or 32 Lounge or something. Well, we'll do something fun with it. But it's a good restaurant. You can come and eat early. It's a full bar if that's what you want to, but then we'll have a separate area.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
that
and I do conduct
great.
them, but we've got at least 4 of the gubernatorial candidates coming on the 26th.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. That sounds good. I'll put this all on our description where this location is.
Yeah.
The address and the dates and the times if I can. And we'll put that on there. So.
It's the old Cabela building. It's right next to Planet Fitness over there.
Oh, okay.
It's called the Ballpark. It's 3 words.
Right off of 65 and
Yeah,
south of
it's
109.
106 in Baltimore.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
know where
it's-
that is.
So it's very nice.
Yeah.
The other thing that I want to say here, though, is that because of this BPOU, our BPOU hosts the Pints Politics North.
Right.
And we meet the second Thursday of the month at Cowboy Saloon in Lexington. The thought is we just call it Pints Politics because it sounds cute, but it's nothing affiliated with a Republican Party the way the BPOU is. But Pints Politics is a very safe and fun way to bring people that know nothing. They don't want to be feeling like they're part of the party yet, but they want to test things out and get to meet people. So it's a social gathering with typically a Republican slant, of course. But we do that the second Thursday of every month. And we get a lot of new people, especially young people.
Yes.
And after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, we got a lot of the young people, especially the young guys, that wanted to connect somewhere.
Right.
And the Pints Politics served that purpose because we had some of the state and regional leaders for TPUSA there talking.
Mm-hmm. It's sad that happened to...
Terrible.
But yet what the outcome of that is so good. But, you know, it
Yeah.
said that we have to
Lose
miss
someone
Charlie.
like that, yeah.
It just for this to happen.
Yep.
Because he was doing such great
Yep.
conversation and debates.
Well, he was
with
doing
these young-
exactly what the founders said. We have to be godly based
Yes.
because human nature needs it. And he was bringing people back into the correct way of thinking and believing. And then everything kind of evolves from there.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you'd like to share at this time to close this out of what we could do?
Well, caucus again is very important just to come and get to know me better. I'll be there. I'll be checking people in along with my board. You'll be there. You'll be what we call a convener. You know, once you walk in the door at Roosevelt Middle School, you will be greeted by us. We'll help you find your precinct. The precinct is your neighborhood numbering within the Senate district, and we'll have classrooms for each precinct with a convener in there, and you don't have to do anything but just walk in. You know, you'll register at the door with us, and then we'll send you with your registration form down to your caucus room, your precinct room, and there you will actually sign in. We have to do this double thing,
Right.
and we gather a little bit more info on you, basically just your address and phone number. And then you as a convener and you as a secretary will just lead them on what we're doing. We will start out with a gubernatorial straw poll.
Okay.
It's non-binding, which means it doesn't mean anything other than we're gauging. I mean, it's not like we're voting on who we want, but and it's sticking. You know, we're just finding out who's more favored at this point.
It's a straw poll.
It's a straw poll.
Yeah.
But we call it non-binding.
Right.
Because that could all change by state convention.
Sure.
You know, someone else could be endorsed. So we'll start out with that, and then we'll just go from there and take a look at the party platform, and we'll talk about other issues. And you'll hear from Senator Cruen, and you'll hear from some of the candidates, and then you'll decide if you want to go on to the. You've already decided you're going to be a delegate to go to the Senate District Convention, but we'll talk more about that.
Right, right.
And I'll be in and out of the rooms with information.
And being a convener, I was very nervous and very shy in front of an audience, but yet you give us a script, follow the script, you follow the instructions,
It's really easy.
and it's really not that bad, especially when you got a nice wife as a secretary that just knows how to rein me in and keep me going. So that's very nice.
But you do have a script, so that's my
Yes.
job as chair, is to make sure you guys are trained. Now, we're
Right.
not asking everybody else to be a convener. We're just asking you to come and attend.
Right.
And we'll guide you to the right room, and then you just sit there and go along.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
listen to what I have
Just
to say.
listen to
and
what we say and
you
what
can-
we tell you to do, and yeah.
It's not that hard, and it's what takes about an hour.
Well, it starts sharply at 7, but we tell people come at 6:15 because we've got to get you registered, signed in, get you in the right spot, you know,
Okay.
things like that. But by state statute, we have to start promptly at 7.
Yes, there
And
is some statutes you got to
There's a lot
follow.
of statute stuff that goes on, and it's going to be about an hour and a half, I
Okay,
think.
okay.
I think it's going to be about that because we're going to be getting a lot of letters from all 14, probably all 14 gubernatorial candidates.
Well, that's
we've
going to be
got
fun
so
to
far.
reading them up.
And we won't have them in person, but but we've also got 6 U.S. Senate candidates, and a state auditor and attorney, one each there. We just have a lot of candidates this year.
It's going to be fun, but it's good to go and just listen to hear what they have to say, so you help make your decisions
Yeah.
on what to do.
Exactly.
So,
just know, everybody, I started out 19 years ago. I didn't even know what a BPOU was.
nor did I.
I didn't even know what it was. What is that? What is that? I don't even know what it means. And now look where I am. I'm involved in everything. So I caught the bug. I really like it. I like knowing everybody. I like knowing that I can call somebody up like a state legislator and say, this isn't quite right. How can I help? And, it becomes a relationship.
Right, right. And that's great. That's
Yeah.
great that you stepped up and
Yeah.
you do great work.
Oh,
And
thanks.
Thank you so much for stepping in and
Yeah.
catching the bug and just help the rest of us catch that bug and
Yeah.
just open our eyes to help us with this information. Well, thank you so much for coming on our show. I sure
Yeah.
appreciate
I'll
that.
come back.
And definitely we've got other issues we like to talk about and whatnot. We'll definitely do that. So
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for being here on our channel, and we'll catch you soon. Thank you.